Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to everybody. So today our workshop is going to be on Sangat. So we're going to be discussing the topic of Sangat through a story of Guru Sangat Singh. So Guru Sangat Singh, he comes back from school, and when he comes back from school, he's not feeling too well. He's not feeling very good. So there's certain things which are not making him feel very good. And one is that he can hear lots of people talking in his head. And these conversations he's hearing is not very nice conversations, bad things about other people, slander, gossip. And he's also hearing swear words and some really, really nasty things he's hearing. So these things are disturbing him and he's not feeling very nice about this. So a quick think time. Why do you think Guru Sangat Singh is having these disturbing thoughts at night time? So he's come back from school, he's hearing various nasty conversations, certain rude words, swear words, all of this. Why do you think this could be? Okay, so have a think about that. So if you think about it, whatever's in our mind, how do we get our thoughts? A lot of our thoughts, or what's inside of our mind, is from what we see, what we hear, what goes through our mouth, what we touch through our sensory organs. So when we touch things, when we hear things, see things, or when we put anything through our mouth, that actually affects our thoughts. So the things which Guru Sangat has seen at school, he's heard at school, the experiences have, that's affected him. So that's why all these bad thoughts are going across in his mind. So Guru Sangat Singh is really excited. He's going on holiday. So he's going to Punjab. So he gets and packs his bags and he's ready to go to Punjab. When he arrives in Punjab, Guru Sangat picks up some seeds. And when he picks up these seeds, they all look the same. So he picks some seeds from one place and he picks some seeds from the other place. But when he looks at and is in his hand, they all look the same. So he goes to his Babaji, to his grandfather, and says, Babaji, these seeds, well, they're really soft, and just look at them. Why are they all the same? And his grandfather smiled and said, they're not all the same, son. Some of these seeds were of a particular flower, some of these seeds were for something else, and the other ones were for something else. They do all look the same now, but once you sow them, once you put them in the ground and they start to grow, then that's when you see that actually not the same, they're different, but at the moment they're all soft and they all look the same. So Guru Sangat Singh is taken to a nearby wood, near to where he lives in Punjab, and he's really impressed by all the trees he sees. And in particular, when he breathes in and he smells, he realizes it's a really, really nice smell. It's a really, really nice fragrance. So he asks his grandfather, Babaji, Babaji, where's this smell coming from? It's really, really nice. It reminds me of some fragrance you would buy from a shop. And his grandfather smiled, and Babaji says, both of this is chandan, sandalwood. These are the trees, these big trees are chandan they're sandalwood trees. And sandalwood is really expensive because of its fragrance. People use its bark to make fragrances, to make incense, and to make perfumes. And he goes, wow. So he's going around the forest, around the woodland, and he's just smelling around. And he can even smell chandan. He can smell the sandalwood coming from the other trees, from the other thing, the small, small trees and shrubs and weeds which are around the chandan, around the sandalwood. And he goes, that's really interesting. Then he goes to these tall, thin looking tree, which was the bamboo trees. And when he goes to the bamboo trees and he smells, and he realizes the bamboo trees do not have the smell of chandan. And he asks his grandfather, he goes, Babaji, why doesn't the bamboo trees, why does the bans the jere rokya how come they don't smell of chandan, they don't smell of sandalwood, but everything else does? His grandfather smiled and said, look, chandan is, this fragrance is really powerful. Anything around it, which is grown around it, also takes up that smell, and they start to smell like chandan as well. They start to smell like sandalwood. However, the only tree which does not take up the smell of chandan is bamboo, is the barns. He goes, oh, that's interesting. So you think of these two scenes from Guru Sangat's trip from Punjab, and what is the deeper message that we can learn from these? So just think about that, the two things, examples we've just covered, okay? So if you look at the first one, where Sangat picks up some seeds, remember they all looked the same, they all felt the same. What did Babaji say? That you'll find out that they're actually not the same once you have grown them. Once they sprout, once they grow, then you'll realize they're not all the same. Not all of them will be soft, and not all of them will look the same either. Not all of them will give you the same outputs. One will give you fruit, the others will not give you fruit. One will still remain soft in your hand, and when you touch the other one, you have thorns, and you can prick yourself, and you might hurt yourself. So it's a really deep message in that. Even though we're all human beings, and we all look the same, in some aspects, in terms of we have nose, we have eyes, we have ears, and so on. So we have very resemblance. We have things which are very similar as human beings. However, also there's differences, and those differences is in our thoughts, in our thinking. And sometimes you can't tell about somebody's thoughts and thinking. It doesn't affect us up until, just like the seeds, when you put them in the ground and they grow, and you find out whether it's going to give you thorns, or you find out whether it's going to give you fruit. In the same way, only when you do Sangat do you find out afterwards whether you have done good Sangat, good company, or bad Sangat, because that's what's going to rub off on you. Second point was the good Sangat we take to the woodlands. Everything smelling nice. So think about the sandalwood. So good Sangat rubs off on us, but it will only rub off on you if you're willing to take in the good points. So it could be that we're with some really, really positive Sangat, but if we're not willing to change, it won't affect us, just like the bamboo. Okay? So Guru Sangat travels back home, and Guru Sangat attends a Kirtan Samagam. He attends a Rain Sabai Kirtan, he attends an all-night Kirtan program as local Gurudwara Sahib, and he loves it. And he particularly, he's picked up that all the shabds are related to Sangat, about company. So a particular shabd comes, and it's on the screen. So the shabd is Kabir, Man Pankhi Peo, Od Ded Sajaye, Jo Jaisi Sangat Mile, Sote So Fal Khaye. Kabir, the mind has become a bird. It soars and flies in 10 directions. It soars and flies, in 10 directions. According to the company it keeps, so are the fruits it eats. So the mind wanders everywhere and anywhere like a bird, and the company we keep, think about that's what we're going to get. So bad company, we're going to get bad, good company, we're going to get good. So after coming back from the Kirtan program, he does his Nityanem, and then he goes to sleep, and he keeps hearing something, and there's a thoughts going in his mind. Think of your name, think of your name. So his name is Guru Sangat, the company of the Guru, keeping company with the Guru, Guru Sangat. So what happens is Guru Sangat, he's really, really, you could hear the shabds from last night when he went to the Gurudwara Sahib. You can hear what Kirtan in his mind. And he was really impressed, and it left a very impression on him, a very powerful impression on his mind. And he thought, you know what, I want to find out what these shabds meant, which I was listening to. So he goes on the internet and opens up Sikh to the max, and he decides to search some of the shabds which he heard. So one shabd he heard at the Kirtan program was, Kabir Chandan ka birva pala, Beryota ka palas. Oh Kabir, the sandalwood tree is good, even though it's surrounded by trees like dark and weeds. ओए भी चंदन होए रहे, base jo chandan paas. Those who dwell near the sandalwood tree become just like sandalwood. And he goes, hold on, I remember this really, I can relate to this shabd. And the reason why he thought they can relate to this shabd is because he remembered his Punjab trip. So he remembered what his Babaji had told him. Kabir baans badai budea, eo mat dubo koe. So he's basically gone next on the shabd. So this was the 11th body, the 11th verse, and then he pressed next and he's on the 12th body. And in Mara says, O Kabir, the bamboo is drowned in his egotistical pride of being tall and high. No one should drown in ego like this. Chandan ke nikate basa, baso gandana hoy. Bamboo also dwells near the sandalwood tree, but it does not take up its fragrance. And he thought, do you know what? That's exactly what my Babaji was telling me about. I remember that. How amazing. Gurbani's used some really nice real life examples from nature to explain us truths, to explain us about the truth of life. So he goes to the Gurdwara Sahib the next day and he listens to the Katha. He listens to the Gyaniji explaining the meanings of Gurbani. So he listens very attentively to what the Gyaniji is saying. And the Gyaniji is talking about some particular verses of Gurbani. So one verse of Gurbani that the Gyaniji mentioned was, Kabir Sakat Sangana Kijiye, Dur hai jaiye Pag. Kabir, don't associate with the faithless. Those people are broken from God. Those people have turned their back to Vaheguru. Those people who are not interested in Vaheguruji, run away from them. Just don't associate yourself with them. Don't get over friendly with them. Don't have close friendships with them. Kabir, then there was another verse he heard. Kabir sant ki gail na shodiye, marg laga jao. So this verse was a bit different in the sense that Bhagat Kabirji says, Kabir, do not leave the society of saints. So now we're talking about running away. We're talking about following and joining a particular company. And they don't leave the society of the saints of the Gurmukhs. Follow their path, walk in their footsteps. So Sangat comes back home and he's thinking about what he's heard at the Gurdwara Sahib today. And he's got a few thoughts going across in his mind, which we're going to just see what he's thinking. So the first thought he has. So one thought is that we are supposed to follow one and run away from the other. That's what Bani was saying. Remember, the faithless, we're running away from them, and the Gurmukhs, the Sants, the Sadhs, the Sadh Sangat, we basically follow them. But aren't they both humans, he says? Don't they both have the same blood and breathe the same air? Aren't we all human beings? Doesn't Bani say that we're all one? That we're the one has made us, we're made in the image of Vaheguru, that we're all made by the one creator. So aren't we, there's no one is good and no one is bad. So a quick think time, aren't we supposed to treat all people the same? If we are made by the one God and all humans should be considered good, then why should we avoid the company of the Sakat, the faithless, or Manamik, one who follows their mind rather than the Guru, and follow the Gurmukh, the one who centers their lives on the Guru, listens and obeys what the Guru says. So let's just think about that, okay? So we follow one, and we're going to be asked to basically run away, avoid the company of the other. So yes, we are all made the same. However, what makes us different is our thoughts and actions. Even though Vaheguruji has made us and we're all born equal, however, our actions, bad actions make somebody bad, good actions make somebody good. It's not how they're born, it's not their body, it is their actions and their thoughts. And whichever actions and thoughts we decide to become close with, we decide to keep friendship with, we decide to keep company with, those thoughts and actions will affect us, and eventually they will influence us and they will become us. So that's what Bani is explaining to us. So Guru Sangat goes to school and he's at lunchtime, he spends time in the school library. So he's really, really having nice conversations with his friend Ram and with his friend John. They're non-Sikhs, but they really have nice conversations. They talk about Vai Guruji. They help one another be good in their faith, and and as well as they're very well focused on their education as well. So things which, in today's lesson at school, Gur Sangat's taught by the teacher, that things which have an influence on us, things which affect us. So the teacher explains to Gur Sangat and all the other students that words affect us. The words someone says can make somebody feel happy, can make somebody feel sad, or they can make us feel angry. So words are very powerful. Feelings, our feelings can also have an influence on other people's feelings. If somebody is feeling sad, they can make us feel sad. They might not say anything. If somebody's feeling happy and they're not said anything, their happiness can also be contagious, and we'll start feeling happy and smile as well because somebody else is smiling. So what we see affects us as well, influences us. When we see somebody beating somebody else up, that will make us feel very upset. If we saw somebody else doing seva, helping somebody, that will make us feel happy. So actually, what we see affects us. When we see people doing criminal behavior, if we're seeing people torturing one another, that will affect us. And perhaps we'll think torturing others is acceptable. When we're watching people drink and smoke all the time, we'll think that's okay. There's nothing wrong with drinking and smoking. We become used to these things. When we are seeing always a sad song of people reading Gurbani, we realize that that's a very important thing in life. And what we hear, the things we hear, if we're always hearing negative things, that affects us negatively, positive things positively. So that's quite straightforward. So a quick think time again. Which other factors or things influence our behavior and thoughts, and how? Okay, so which other factors or things influence our behavior and thoughts, and how? So a few, I'm just don't know what answers you may have got there. Some answers could be the food. So the food we eat influences as well. And Gurbani mentions this. Vidina ki doste vidina ka khan sifti sarna jani sada vasai shaitan. That when we eat from people with bad thoughts, with bad actions, that affects us, and we lose the value of doing Simran, and that affects our mind, because our mind doesn't become in the mindset, I want to do Simran. When we eat from people who've been reading Japji Sahib or doing Simran, we're cooking the food, that food affects us, you know, that we feel very spiritually refreshed, and we want to do Simran, we don't part. The weather can affect us, our physical space, where we are, the environment. So if you're going in for example, a gambling place where everybody's gambling, that physical space and environment affect us. If you're going through a prison where people are very upset and angry, that the vibrations of that place would affect you, and they'll be different to the feeling you get in the physical space of a Gurdwara Sahib. So physical environment also affects us as well. So it's very important that we avoid going to bad places, going to places where there's bad vibrations, where there's bad thoughts and bad vibes. And try to go to places where we have positive thoughts, positive actions are happening. So obviously the best example is Gurdwara Sahib, and we can try to make our homes as well, our bedrooms, into positive places. So at school, at playtime, things don't turn out very, very nice. You know, people are playing up, so he's looking around, you know, these people in his class, someone is, you know, smashed a window, he sees somebody else smoking, he sees somebody else bullying somebody, he sees somebody else, you know, being really abusive to the teachers, and he thinks, you know what, it's really getting to him, all this negativity at school. So Gur Sangat comes back home and he does his evening rehearsal of the part, but you can tell he's not looking very happy today. He's looking quite upset. So his dad asks him what the problem is, and so he explains to him, you know, I've had this bad day at school, you know, some really negative experiences I've been seeing. So his dad then explains to him, says, son, be careful with the Sangat you keep, the company you keep, the company of your eyes, the company of your ears, the company of your mouth, the company of your body, the company who you keep company of your thoughts. Be very careful. He said sometimes it looks harmless, just like when you're sowing seeds, they just look harmless, they're not going to cause you any harm. However, you only find out truly what that seed is once it's grown. So one will give you apples because it was seeds for an apple tree, and the other is going to prick you and cause you to cut yourself because it actually was actually a thorn bush. So he remembered this from his trip from Punjab again. He goes, wow. So his dad tells him to just be very careful. Sometimes you might not realize and you might think it's harmless, but you only find out the harms of keeping company afterwards. And sometimes it might be a few hours later, it could be a next day, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. But the Sangat we keep, it does actually affect us. And his father is telling him that this is what Gurbani tells us. So Guru Sangat decides to search Gurbani. He's been quite inspired by his dad now, and he wants to search to his phone for more. What does Gurbani say? Particularly remember something. Remembers that Gyani Ji at the Gurdwara said. But do you know what? I remember the Gyani Ji at the Gurdwara was talking about Sangat as well. I remember the first lines, but I can't remember the full verse, the full shlok that Gyani Ji was talking about. So he remembered this like Kabir Sant ki gair na shudiye marg laga jao. Kabir, don't leave the society of the saints of the Gurmukhs. Follow their path, meaning follow their footsteps. Follow them. Follow their example. Because what's the next line? So he searches in his phone, and he realizes the next line is "Pekat hi praneet hoye pet japiye now." So the translation he reads is, seeing them, one is purified. Meeting them, one is inspired to chant Naam. One is inspired to do Simran. So he goes, okay, that's really interesting. So then he goes, I remember Gyani Ji mentioned another line as well. Oh yeah, Kabir Sakat Sang na kijiye, dur ho jaiye paag. I remember that. Kabir, don't associate with the faithless, run far away from them. Because what's the next line? There's an incomplete verse. And the next line was, Basanakaro parsiye, tau kachalage dag. Touching a blackened vessel, you will get stained. So he reads this and he goes, interesting. So he has some thoughts about this, and let's do a quick think time again. So how do you think one gets purified meeting the Gurmukh, and how does one get stained with the marks in the company of the Manmukh? How does one get cleaned or purified in the company of Gursikhs who are, following Guru's path? And how does somebody who's following the path of somebody who's ignoring or choosing not to follow Maharaj, or is going against Gurbani, against the Guru's path, is not following, Vaiguruji's instructions, how to become dirty in their company? How do we become mucky in their company? Yeah? So if you think about the purified, so imagine our eyes. So when we're in the company of the Manamukhs, our eyes become stained, because the Manamukh, the people who follow their mind rather than the Guru, be telling us, oh, she's all right, and look at that girl as meat, as flesh. Look at that girl, not as your sister, not as your mum, but see her in a degrading way, that you just see her as a body. Or to see that boy, not as your brother, not to see that boy as your father, or to see him as a son, but to see that boy as a piece of meat, and to be degrading and look at him in a lustful way. That's why the Manamukhs, the eyes become sinful, the eyes become dirty. But when we do Sangat with the Gurmukhs, the Gursikhs, those who follow what the Guru says, they inspire us that these eyes become pure, because now when we see other girls and boys, we don't see them as just meat. We don't just see them as just bodies. We don't see them with lustful or dirty eyes. We see them as our brothers and sisters. We see them as other Gursikhs. We see them as other children of God. We see them with innocence. So you can see the eyes become pure. Hands. In the Manamukh Sangat, the hands become dirty when we're using these hands to do bad things, whether it's picking up alcohol, drinking alcohol, smoking, use his hands to beat up innocent people and so on. But these hands, when we're in the Sangat of the Gurmukhs, in the Sangat, the company of those who follow the Guru's path, these hands become purified, they become blessed, because these hands, we get to do seva, hold Gurbani, we get to, with these hands, we get to help others. So there's a few examples of how we get purified, or how we can become stained. So Gur Sangat has a light bulb moment. So he goes, ding. And the ding moment is he realizes something. And what does he realize? So Gur Sangat realizes that in the past, he's always had choices. He can choose A, B, C, and D. He can has options of what to do, how to behave. I can what to eat, what to see, what to hear. He's always got options. So am I going to listen to this type of music, or this type? What do I feel like eating? Do I feel like eating this or this? So, for example, am I going to eat vegetarian today? Am I going to have, am I going to have dal roti? Or am I going to have a chicken burger? Or am I going to have bacon? Am I having a dead pig to eat? So you got choices there. Am I going to be watching this movie, which is a lot of swearing and violence and wrong actions between ladies and men? Or am I going to watch, for example, one of the Sikhi channels? Am I going to go on YouTube and watch Kathan Kirtan and perhaps something inspiring about Sikhi? Or am I going to go on the internet and watch some dirty movie? Or am I going to watch some music where they're effing and bliming, swearing, and they're being disrespectful to women? So you've got choices. But he realized something else, that actually there's a one way. Rather than choices, where you got choices, there's actually one. And that is because there's only always one right thing to do, and that is the Guru's way. Humans have many choices because humans think many different things. I think this, I think that, what I think and you think could be different. But what Guru says is always one. What Guru says in Gurbani, that is one way. And that's a one way, the Guru's way only. And it's not influenced by me or you or anybody else. It's just the Guru's way. So he thinks, wow, he's clocked onto something. So he realizes when he wears his BB glasses, he no longer sees in life choices. Shall I do that wrong action? Shall I do that wrong action? Or shall I do the right thing? Or wearing these glasses, he only sees one thing, and that's the right thing to do, the right thing to say, the right thing to see, the right thing to listen, the right thing to eat, the right thing to speak. So the question is, what are these BB glasses? So what are the goggles that Guru Sangat is now wearing that is making him see life different? What could BB stand for? Ooh, interesting if anybody gets that. So what does BB stand for? So is to break the suspense. The BB stands for Bibek Buddhi. Bibek Buddhi. Bib, 2, ek, 1. Bibek is the wisdom to know what is right and wrong. And how do you know that? You're using the Guru as your standard in life. Everything you do in life, you test it against the Guru. Does Guruji say this is right? Does Guruji want me to watch this? Does Guruji want me to say this? Does Guruji want me to hear this? Does Guruji want me to do this in my hands? And so it's from going from 2, where there's options, Vaheguru, to going to 1, so where there's only the Guru's way. So where do we get those glasses from? Is by doing Sangat with the Guru. Where do we get this wisdom from? Is from doing company with the Guru. Bibek Buddha Satgur Te Pai, Gur Gyan Guru Prabh Kera. From the true Guru, from Satguru Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, the Das Padshahs, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, I have obtained Bibek Buddha, the discriminating intellect, i.e. the wisdom to able to know what's right and wrong, because I'm only now following the Guru's way, the one way, rather than the different ways of the world, the different ways of thinking, which fashion tells me, whether movie stars are telling me, whether certain TV programs are telling me this is right or wrong. Everybody's got different opinions. Now I've only got the one way, the Guru's way. And the Guru revealed to me the spiritual wisdom of God. So, the Chandan, we can go back to the Chandan. We started with the Chandan near the beginning of our workshop. We then finished with the Chandan as well. So, we come back to the Chandan, which is the Guru. Guru Sangat's Bibek Buddhi increases. So his wisdom, how to see life from the Guru's perspective, to see life as from the Guru's way, it increases. So how can we increase our wisdom to see life from the Guru's ways, so that we can always act and behave according to what the Guru wants us to do? So one is doing Sangat through books. So when we're reading books, whether it be online, we can read things, whether we can read the physical books, and when we're reading books of amazing Gursikhs, so like he's reading autobiography of Bhai Ranveer Singh Ji, whether it's an amazing book of, for example, Sheikh Kanhaiya Baba Harnam Singh Ji, or whether it's books of Bhai Veer Singh Ji, whether it's, for example, the books of Sundari, of Bibi Satwant Kaur and other books, which really, really show us what, you know, what Sikhi is about, because these people have lived Sikhi, and their actions are, you know, is exemplary. So that helps us to increase our Vivek Buddhi. Other one is reading Gurbani, connect to the Gurbani. So searching the meanings of Gurbani. When you're doing Nitrim, perhaps just pick one body verse. You know what, today I'm going to learn, I'm trying to think about what this body, this verse of Japji Sahib is telling me. Do you know, Mum, what does that verse in there ask me today? I've been listening to it. Perhaps doing a Sahaj part, reading Guru Granth Sahib Ji slowly with the meanings. And one is doing physical Sangat. I mere Guru Sikh, I mere tu mere Guru ke pyare. When we're meeting really positive people, following people who are trying their best to follow the Guru's life and teachings and get Guruji's blessings, with that our Vivek Buddhi increases as well. So we, like I said, we started beginning when we're doing the beginning part. We start with the Chandan, we end with that. Now time's up. So Mara says, Kabir Chandan ka birva pala, beriota ka palas, oi bhi Chandan hoye rahe, base jo Chandan paas. So sandalwood is amazing that the other trees around and whether weeds or vegetation start to smell like Chandan, they start to smell like sandalwood, those who are near sandalwood. Do you know what? Our Guru is even more amazing than that. Our Guru is not like is not just like Chandan, it's more than Chandan, it's more than sandalwood. Guru Sahib is. How? Sandalwood can only make you smell like sandalwood, but when you do company with the Guru, when you do the company with the Gurmukhs will make you into a Gurmukh. Gur Sangat with the Gursikhs will eventually make you into a Gursikh. And doing Sangat with the Guru will eventually make you Guru Wale, will make you the child of the Guru. So it's very powerful, doing Sangat with Gurmukhs, doing Sangat with Gursikhs, doing Sangat with the Guru, through Gurbani, through Kirtan, through Katha, through Simran, through research, all these things. And more importantly, these type of camps, workshops, which are very important. So Mara Kirpa Karan, may we all keep positive Sangat, the Guru-friendly Sangat, and may we avoid bad company, which breaks us away. As we say, Ardas Sai Pyare Mera Jina Milya, Tera Naam Chityave Pul Chikhima, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.